hello, hello, hello. Let us get started here. But before we do, I'm pulling up the our promo here as soon as I can find it. Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, how is everybody? It's so glad to see. I'm glad to see you all here today, and I'm excited about my guest tonight. We have
Yes.
Miss Jeri Godhigh. I just love her last name, and
Amen.
let me just share a little bit about Jeri. Jeri Godhigh is a driven leader in the Ackworth, Georgia community, a dynamic public speaker, and a life changing coach. She leads by example and real life experiences in her coaching. Godhigh is exhilarating, humorous, and engages her audience with charisma and passion. Godhigh is the founder and real estate broker of the Godhigh and Associates Realty Company that she started in 2017. Before the inception of her company, Godhigh has led successful real estate career for the past 16 years. Godhigh is naturally talented in the art of real estate sales and leads over 1 million in revenue. Godhigh desires to help millennials through the home buying experience and help to make it an excellent experience. She has built a solid foundation of corporate clients and relocation throughout her 16-year tenure in the industry. She is a current real estate instructor for the American Real Estate University, where she teaches the fundamentals of sales. She is also the CEO, agency owner of the God High Agency Allstate Insurance Company in Kennesaw, Georgia, where she leads a seasoned sales team. She and her team are invested in being trusted advisors to families, individuals, and executives in their local community. She has built an impressive financial portfolio consisting of life, auto, retirement, and home insurance within a short period of time. Insurance sales falls right in Godhigh's wheelhouse of skills. She enjoys consulting and educating the community on their options in insurance and in the home buying process. She is recognized for her work and was featured in Formidable magazine as one of the queens of real estate in the Atlanta metropolitan area. And she also is an author on a literary collaboration. You know what? We need to put. I need to mute you while I'm reading this. Okay. And she has a collaborative also entitled Deeper Woman Teach, written by 8 powerful women who lead. This book is a collection of stories and strategies of life, love, and leadership to empower other women who lead. She is also working on her second book to be released in spring of 2022. Now, she also is a partner with her daughter, Jamia Ponder, to bring you Jeri and Jamia Unfiltered, a powerful and necessary movement created to help mothers and daughters heal and break generational curses. Now, we're going to talk more about that, and I'm going to let her share even more about herself, and rather than me just continue to read on. So, Jeri, I'd like for you to take a few minutes and just kind of share with the audience a little more about you, about your journey, how you got into real estate. And of course, you're one of the Success Women Conference speakers. So we're going to be talking about that as well. But I'm going to give you the floor and let you just kind of share with the audience a little more about you.
Thanks, Vera. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today with you and allow me to share with your audience just some great nuggets that God has placed in my spirit. But I can't live up to that bio. I don't know about you, but that seems to be quite a bit. But I'm just thankful for the opportunity. I am, as Vera was saying, a coach, life certified coach, as well as an author. But I didn't get here overnight. And one of the things that I would love to share with you is just a tidbit of my story. And my story looks like this. When you know a person that has lupus, and you look at them, you don't know that they have lupus. You can't tell that they have lupus. Well, I have a disease that's called scleroderma, and it is it's not a curable disease. And so when I was given that sentence of this disease, it's an autoimmune disease. So maybe I should, kind of clarify that. So it's kind of on the lines of lupus, but it's where your immune system attacks itself. But I was given that diagnosis back in 2009, but I believe that God would allow me to live. And so if you look at me, you would think, boy, oh boy, she doesn't look like she have a disease. But looks can be deceiving. And so I encourage you, whatever you are going through today, know that God's got you right where, where he wants you to be. And no matter what man or what type of disease or what kind of illness, what kind of financial situation you're in today, know that you don't have to stay there. One of the things I was talking to Vera about today is about free to be me. And after all of these years of being who everybody else wanted me to be, I am now living the life to be who Jeri was meant to be and who Jeri wants to be and who Jeri is destined to be. Because one of the things that I think is a tragedy is that we would leave this life and never have completed the very things that God had created us to be or to do, or even birth us to do. How about that? What about not really fulfilling the calling or the destiny that you have on your life? And so I encourage you today to get up and get moving and do the very things that's, within your spirit, within the passion that's in your heart to do, no matter what your circumstances look like, right? Because I didn't think I could make it. I was in and out of the hospital almost every weekend, it seemed like, for one reason or another, one surgery, one service, one, in and out procedure after the other. But I thank God for bringing me thus far, and I'm still continuing to go. Some days I feel great, some days I don't, but I'm still moving through the destiny because I'm still here. And I believe if we're still here, we still have work to do.
Amen. Amen. Now, tell me a little bit more about this disease.
Hmm.
When were you diagnosed,
Yeah. So I
and
was diagnosed in 2009, just 2 years after my mother passed away. And so in 2009, I just started getting a lot of swelling in my body. And then eventually, maybe, some months later, my right kidney started to fail. And so it was a third of the kidney had died. So I had to have a stent put in my kidney. And from then on, it was just, one thing after another. But I just thank God, that he kept me here for a reason.
yes,
And after that, of course, I was able to then, continue my real estate. But then he gave me the business for the real estate. He gave me the business for insurance, writing, so forth and so on. So doesn't matter what you're going through or what you had to go through. Don't let that stop you from succeeding the very things that you need to do. And scleroderma looks like it's a skin disease, mostly. And if you remember, Queen Latifah's mom had it and she passed
oh,
away. But so it starts with, or it can start with being a skin disease. And so it gets on your skin and it hardens all of your skin. But then it can also attack your organs. So your heart, your liver, your kidneys, your eyes. But most people don't know is that your skin is the biggest organ you have,
yes,
right? And so it can attack your skin. But then for me, it didn't attack my skin, it attacked my organs,
oh
one of
my,
my organs. And so, but again, God is good and he's
yes,
faithful. And I'm
yes,
here. And I'm here to share the story that no matter what sometimes life deals to us, no matter what we're going through, you can do it. You can stand up to that thing and say, I can do this.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now, let
Yeah.
me ask you, because you talk about being free. And
Yeah.
so let's talk about that, because so many of us, so many people tend to be all bottled up with
Yeah.
guilt and jealousy and all these negative things. So, how do you encourage people? What's the key to being free from your perspective?
Wow. Wow. So my perspective, I have for the last, I want to say, Vera, for the last 20 something years, I think I have always lived up to someone else's perspective of me. I've been what they wanted me to be. I've done what I thought would be the great thing to do, to keep the peace, to, make sure the kids grow up right, to make sure the husband is pleased, if you will. And so I've always done things. Maybe it was even for the boss, um, or my family. And so I just felt like I was living in a box of what somebody else wanted me to do. But to be free means that you have to really dig down deep inside of you and find out, for one, what was that trauma? Oprah Winfrey has a book out that says, "What happened to you?" And I think it's so prevalent, because the truth of the matter is, whatever happened to you in your life, whether you're a child or an adult, it kind of dictates how you respond to different things. And I feel like once you dig deep inside and see, what is it, that thing that makes you fearful? What is it, that thing that makes you not want to move forward in life, or that makes you think that you're not great, or you're not good enough for such and such, right? Or whatever it is, that thing that's holding you back for really being you, for really standing up in the world and said, "I'm proud to be Jeri Godhigh. I'm proud to be Vera Thomas," and truly walk in our steps of being who we are, and not being fearful or afraid to let our light shine.
Amen.
And it took some time. It wasn't overnight, but I did do some therapy. I know sometimes people don't want to do therapy, but therapy is good. I
Yes.
did do some coaching. I was the coach that got coached. How about that? And every coach needs a coach. And so, and I went through that session of training, and just really getting down to the nuts and bolts of who I am. It's not what I drive, it's not where I live, it's not what I eat, it's not who I hang out with, but really, who are you? Right?
Yes.
Girl, who are you? Dig
Yes.
deep and see, who are you, so that you're really free to be who you are. And that's what helped deliver me from the perspectives, or the thoughts of what other people thought I should do, who I should be, where I should go. But just really finding who I am truly, so that I'm able to walk in it.
And there's such a freedom in that,
Yeah,
not having to worry about how other people perceive us, or what other people think of us, or any of that. When you get past that, then
yeah,
that's where that sense of freedom really comes in, because then it's not about that. It's about who you are and whose you are. Because I know
right.
you are a woman of God, and I know
Yes,
you trust Him,
yes,
and and it is because of Him that you can stand
because,
before us today
yes,
looking beautiful and looking
amen,
healthy and
amen.
looking like you don't have a problem at all. So, no,
Right. And that's what I said. Looks can be deceiving, right? We can see a person and we can think that, oh my, they have it all going on. And, we always look at the grass on the other side thinking it's greener. But when you get there, you realize it's not always so green. And if it is green, it's because they work to get it green. And
yes,
so, yeah, work on our side of the fence and make sure we can get ours green as well. Yeah.
absolutely. And Norma says, hello. Hello, Norma. We're glad that
Hello.
you're here today. Thank you very much. Now, Jeri, I know you're also involved in the Success Women's Conference. I
Yes.
want you to share a little bit about, one, what made you decide to become a part of Success Women's Conference? And two, tell us a little bit about what you're going to be talking about.
Sure, sure. I'm excited, and I thank Kern, Cherry, and all of those great women for the opportunity to allow me to be a part of the panel and be a part of the conference. It's a great stage, main stage, that they're allowing women to be able to share their story and help someone else along the way. And I'm just excited for that opportunity to meet other leaders, other women leaders that are, out in the communities doing what they do. And so it's just a blessing to have that opportunity. And one of the things that I'm going to be talking about in the conference is, are you stuck? Right, in transition. So, transition, are you stuck? And where are you? And so, realizing that you don't have to stay stuck where you are. And sometimes it does feel like you're stuck, when you're in between. Is that in between where God is already, telling you to close the door behind you so that you can go in the door ahead of you? But it's not always easy to do that. I had that issue when I was closing down one of my businesses. And I just knew that that was the place that God would have me to be, and that it was going to be there. I'm going to be there forever. It's my legacy. It's my thing that I'm going to pass on to my kids. I birthed it, as my baby, and I'm like, and you telling me to just close it? Oh my gosh, I can't do that. And so he says, okay, well, we'll just stay right here until you're ready, right?
Yes.
Makes it clear that you have to move. And so until I finally said, okay, God, I accept, I hear, I'm ready to pivot, because we have to be ready to pivot when God says
Yes.
pivot. Right?
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
not always easy to do,
No, it's
but
not.
to not look back, close that door, and then move forward. One of the things that I shared about was the story of Moses when they crossed the Red Sea. And so when Pharaoh was coming through, God had to close up that sea, right? Because he had to give them no opportunity to go back. Even though they looked back and they wanted to go back to the familiar, he had to close it up because they couldn't have a way to get back. Can you imagine looking back at that sea and now it's all closed up and you cannot go back? All you can
Right.
do is go forward. And that's
Yes.
what we want you to know today, to go forward, close that door, and do the things that God has for you to do. Don't get stuck.
Amen. And I
Don't get
just want
stuck.
to acknowledge Tanya.
Hi,
Hello,
Tanya.
Tanya. We're glad you're here. Thank
Hey,
you for being
girl.
here. And she said, great word, great word. And then Felicia, thank you, Felicia, for
Hi,
being
Felicia.
here. She's one of the personalities that's a part of DJ Grady Baby Radio.
Yay.
So she's faithful. I'm so grateful that you're here. And
Amen.
you talked about how the children of Israel, they did look back, but they
Mm-hmm.
recognized that they had to move forward. And
Right.
so even us today, and I have often said, if God intended for us to look back, he would
Mm-hmm.
have put eyes in the back of our heads.
Ah,
And he
right.
didn't,
He
so
did not.
he wants us to look forward. And sometimes we get stuck
Mm-hmm.
because of, I think, well, I'll ask you, what do you think are some of the reasons that cause people to just stand still
Mm-hmm.
and feel stuck
Mm-hmm.
and not move
Yeah.
forward?
Yeah, so one of the main reasons is fear. It's
Yes.
the fear of the unknown. It's if you know what's behind you, you can kind of deal with that bear, that beast, right? Be it good or bad. But it's the unknown is what's facing you that you don't know, because God doesn't always give you all the details. He may give you a piece of it and he says, go. And you're like, okay, what am I going to?
Yes.
Can I really do this? Am I equipped? Am I ready? Do I have everything that I need to walk in this thing that he said for me to walk in? And so, yeah, fear is going to be your number one bear that you're looking at to say, I don't know if I can do this. Right. And
And
but until
yes.
you really depend on God and say, okay, God, I'm trusting you, even though I don't see the way fully, I'm
Yes.
going to go ahead and step into that new dimension. Yeah.
Yes, and God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of
Yeah.
love and of power and of a sound mind. And sometimes, because I know there's been many times when He's instructed me, to do things, and it's like, really, and but whatever He ordains us to do, or whatever it
Amen.
is that He has us to do, He equips us. So we have to understand that when God speaks to you, then you need to follow through and do what he says. And if we
Absolutely.
don't, we end up making a lot of mistakes and doing things all out of control, out of the norm of what it is that
Yeah.
he says, I know the plans I have for you, plans
Yes.
to prosper you and not to harm you. And
That's right.
so we need to trust that. We need to trust that. And I
Hmm.
know that you trust him, you know.
That's right. That's right. And he'll let you stay stuck too if you want to.
If you want to,
Yeah, you want
absolutely.
to.
Absolutely. He'll say, okay. I remember him bringing me to Atlanta. And this one day, I was just like, Lord, you told me to come here. Why aren't things happening? And he
Hmm.
confirmed over and over again that this is where I'm supposed to be. And this one day, I heard as clear as day, because he had already confirmed. And
Hmm.
as clear as day, I heard, look, this is where I told you that you're supposed to be. But you
Amen.
do what you want to do.
Wow. Right.
I was
And you're
like,
like,
okay, I hear
okay,
you. Yes, right. I hear you. I hear you loud and clear.
yes,
So I was like, okay, obedience is better than sacrifice.
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And so I know you and your daughter have a program that you're working on. You also have a podcast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I'd like for you to share a little bit about that. And then we're also going to talk about your books because you've got several books
Yes.
that you've either co authored or that you have authored. So we want to talk about that as well. And I want to say to our listening audience that Jeri is one of the speakers for the Success Women's Conference, and you
Yes.
do not want to miss her. You hear her here, and so you can see that she's got a passion for what it is that she does. So you definitely want to sign up for that conference. Okay.
Amen.
So
Yes.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to throw that out there, and I'll be throwing it out periodically as we go through this session. Now,
Yes.
tell us about the work that you and your daughter are doing.
Yeah, thank you. And so Jamia and I, after she's actually in the book as well. So I'll just kind of tell you a little bit about the book while we're here. The book is called Deeper Women Teach. And so it's 8 authors in one book. It's an anthology. And so when we were both selected to write our stories in that book, God woke me up one morning and said, there's not many times or many Black mothers and daughters that are out there writing books together. And I want you all to use this opportunity to speak to mothers and daughters everywhere. And then also to show them and share with them how to break generational curses over their lives. And I honestly, Vera, didn't know that it was such a need out there for that. But as soon as we, said yes, we got on the bandwagon and said yes, and we branded it and got out there. There was a lot of people that were suffering or going through and asking questions on, how they are to get their relationship back with their mother. And so it's phenomenal to be able to speak to mothers and daughters everywhere, where she can speak to the millennial daughters or the younger daughters. I could speak to the older mothers or vice versa, just to kind of give them a different perspective on the mother-daughter relationship and how important it is for us to have a great relationship with our mother. Some are forced, some are decided, right, and then others are just the way it is. And so we really find that it's a necessary need and it's important to have that relationship because it kind of it makes who you are, right? And it kind of dictates how you treat your children and your family and the kind of person you end up kind of being, unless you have a mandate on your life to do better. And most people don't know the difference. And so they kind of just repeat the pattern,
Yes.
which therein lies the generational curse.
Yes, and it is amazing the number of women that do not have a good relationship with their mothers.
Yes.
I don't understand it because my mother, even though my mother died at the age of 43,
Mm-hmm.
she was my rock. And
Mm-hmm.
I could tell her anything. And I think it's important for mothers and daughters to have that connection. And if they don't have it, having that communications to kind of talk about and delve into
Yeah.
what is it that has caused this dissension between us, and
Yes.
talk about it, because it is, I remember having a young girl in my car, and she talked about how her mother just up and left the family,
Mm-hmm.
and it impacted her greatly. She became
Yeah.
very angry, and in fact had all kinds of problems in school because of it. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, she said her father was her rock. But for
Wow.
you and your daughter to be focusing in on the mother daughter relationship, that is very important, very important.
Amen.
Felicia, she says that
Mhm.
yes, you can definitely have the passion, and you can definitely see that she has the passion. Yes, she
Oh.
does.
Thank you so much, Felicia. It's definitely something that, God has put in our spirit and to enable us to be able to help other people do and walk freely, because again, it's all about what happened to you. And a lot of times, what we do, we keep doing it, we keep putting it under the rug, we keep pushing it down further and further and further, till one day, you get to that place like, I can't take it anymore, because you don't even really know at that point what it is that's causing you not to exceed and excel in your life, because you've you suppressed it for so long. And so that's why I love that statement of what happened to you.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. And once awareness precedes change, and
Yes.
once we become aware, and Norma says, what's the name of the book?
Deeper Women Teach is the name of that book. And that's the book that we just, we kind of just talk about different things in our stories, and, sharing with you on how to, get out of the places that you are, and just, how we got set free.
And where can people purchase the book?
So they can just go onto my website, jerigodhigh.com, or they can email me at jerigodhigh@gmail.com, and I can get a copy right out to you. The first person that emails me today, I will mail you a copy this weekend.
Do you hear that? Now, I didn't put your email address on in here,
Okay.
so I need to do that. Can you put it in the chat for
I
me?
can do that. Yes, I
Okay, and then
can.
I'll put it up. And again, the first person to email her, she's going to give you a book. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So Norma, get your email together and give her, send her an email. Okay, I'm going to put this up right now so that people can see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there it is. And
Yay.
again, the first person to send her an email, she is going to give you a book. That's awesome. And Norma says, okay.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Now, you have a couple other books out as well, right?
So I have another one that's slated to be released in March of 2022. And so I'm excited about that. It is talking about I'm being free to be me. That's not the title, but I'm not going to release the title just yet, because I promise you it's going to be dynamite. I know that's what, oh, that probably dates me. That dates me for sure. But it's going to be awesome. And so I'm excited about it. And I'm also going to be looking forward to doing a 10 city tour. So I'm kind of following, and I am Tabitha Brown. I'm following her footsteps. So
Okay,
get on her
awesome.
heels. Yeah. So I'm
That's
excited.
wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, I know that you also, now
Thank
you're
you,
in the real,
Toya.
yes. And she says, congratulations on your second book. Yes,
Ooh, thank
that's
you.
that's wonderful. Tanya, we appreciate you being here. Norma and Felicia and anyone else that wants to chime in on this chat, feel free. If you have any questions you want to ask or any comments you want to make, feel free to do so.
Yes.
Now, you also are in real estate
Mm-hmm.
and you've been in real estate for quite some time. And I know the market is kind of shaky right now, but you want to kind of talk about what it is you do, and you also teach
Mm-hmm.
sales in real estate. So let's talk about that.
Sure, sure. Yep. So I've been doing real estate now for the past 16 years as a realtor. But excuse me, I opened up my real estate company back in 2017, I believe it is, as a broker. And so with that, I have a sales team. And so I have agents that actually work for the company, but they work for themselves as independent contractors. And we're just excited. We're thankful for the opportunity to be able to help families realize their dream of of owning their home, getting a piece of that pie, if you will. And so it's been exciting to be able to enlighten, encourage, and teach other people about the not only the importance of home ownership, but just other avenues and assets that they can have as it relates to being a homeowner. But I am an all state. I mean, I am. What am I? I am a real I'm a real estate instructor through American Real Estate University, and through that, I basically teach real estate agents different things as it relates to the industry and how to become and be better agents. And then also, I'll be teaching the pre-license classes as well, so that they can become agents. So just excited about it and the opportunities that real estate has to offer our communities. So I encourage you, if you're interested in real estate, you can do it. Get out there, get your license, make some good money, meet some new people. It's phenomenal. But it is work. Sometimes people think that when you do real estate, you make a lot of money, and you don't, and it's just easy. It's not easy, but it is a blessing. So yeah, I love it.
That's awesome. And you also deal with insurance as well?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, I just opened up an Allstate agency back in 2020, right before the pandemic. Bless God. And so, actually, the pandemic shut us down about March 16th, and we opened our doors on March 2nd. So
Oh,
it was very
wow.
challenging to be able to, stay open. Well, not even stay open at that point, but just to survive through the hard parts, quote unquote, of the pandemic. But we do have an agency and sales agents where they're selling insurance and just out there helping people out, being their trusted advisor with insurance, for their car, for their home, for their life.
Wow, you are just so well rounded. You're doing so many things. This is so awesome. God is really using you to make
Amen.
a difference in
Amen.
people's lives.
Amen.
Garen says, "Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Hey, Garen. He's another personality with DJ Grady Baby Radio." And then Felicia says, "Hey there." And she also says, "Congratulations on your books."
Thank
So
you
this
so
is
much, Felicia.
Yes. And again, Jeri is one of the speakers for the Success Women's Conference that's coming up on this weekend, the
Yay.
18th through the 21st. So I want to
Yes.
encourage you, if you haven't signed up, please do so. And Norma says she's having trouble with her email. Okay, well, we'll keep trying, Norma, keep
I
trying.
think that is the email address. So,
Yes, but she may be having problems with hers.
okay, gotcha.
All right. So tell me more about this coaching that you do, because I know you're also, this lady does so many things. She's in real estate, she has a podcast, she has written books, and she's an author. And now, you also do coaching. So let's talk about your coaching.
Sure, sure. And so, my daughter and I, again, when we started Jerry and Jamia Unfiltered, we also both became certified coaches. And so, and one of the things that we do within our coaching company is that we do coach mothers and daughters to healing and wholeness. But then also the other flip side of the coin is that I coach women, entrepreneurs, leadership ladies that are out there doing their thing, but they don't fully realize their capacity, because they are at capacity when it comes to being able to go past that glass ceiling. So we do coach women into, realizing their true selves, and to be able to walk fully in who they are and who they're called to be, so that they become truly successful without all of the other things that they have. One of the things that I was, proud of is having the name tags and having the cars and the houses and, all that great stuff. But when it came down to the real Jeri, I had to look at little Jeri and say, where's little Jeri, and how did she get lost in all of that, and realize who I really was, so that I was able to then be fully happy in the person that I've become, not the titles, but the person.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. And people don't understand that takes work. You
Yes.
can't just one day say, okay, I'm going to change. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be different. We really have to look at, who am I? what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are the things that I need to improve?
Yeah.
And let me also say, a lot of times when you hear the same thing over and over again about yourself
Mm-hmm.
from different people,
Mm.
then maybe we need to take heed and look at that
Yeah.
instead of taking it with a grain of salt.
Especially with the key word there is different people, because one person can tell you the same thing because they just trying to change you. But if it's coming from different people, then it is maybe it is something you need to look into. But again, as I stated earlier, we do have the coaching company, so feel free to check us out online. We would love to assist you in whatever area you need help in. But then also, it's okay. It's okay to get help, because like you said, Vera, it doesn't just go away, or just doesn't, just because you acknowledge it doesn't mean it's gone. It just means you acknowledge it. But you need to put some feet to your now newfound wisdom, right? But now you got to put some action to it and really get some help, or get somebody to help you walk through that thing to really get delivered.
Yes.
And it's not some seance or anything like that, like the exorcist, but it really is practical steps to freedom. Yeah.
Speaking of practical steps, if you could just kind of share a couple of things that a person might want to do as they're going through their journey of transformation.
Yes. So one step I say for sure, and like you and I were talking about earlier, Vera, is that you really do need to do some self-care. I know that's like this big word nowadays. Everybody's talking about self-care, self-care, but it really is true. You need to sit down with yourself. Have a date with yourself and and really just sit and listen or read or meditate. I know that sounds so much like, oh my gosh, that's boring, or oh boy, I can't sit still for 1 second. But take some time for yourself and just sit there and listen and ask God, or just breathe and say, what is it that you have for me? Why was I created? I know a lot of times, we heard the story of what in the world was I created for? But really and truly, you do want to ask yourself that. What in the world was I created for? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? And then just listen to your inner self. I know sometimes people, oh, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in Jesus. But I promise you, there is something within you that needs to come out. And so he will show you what it is that you need to do and how you need to center yourself so that he can speak to you and show you what it is that needs to be changed, or what it is that you need help with, whether you can do it by yourself or not. Sometimes we do need that hand that says, hey, let me show you. Maybe practical number 2 would be, start journaling every day. Write down your thoughts, and start thinking about those things that how did you grow up? What was spoken over you all your life? What did you do? How did you get from point A to point Z? Right. And so start thinking about those things. So those will be 2 practical things I would say immediately.
Yes, awesome. Now, Garen says that's true, but sometimes we outgrow situations. There are plenty do nothing crews with furnished pity parties. LOL. Yes, sitting on pity pots, having pity parties. We should know the
Right.
difference. You've changed. Should have explanation. I like
Hmm.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
So when if someone has said to you, "Well, you've changed," what do you
Mm,
mean by that? And have I changed for the better? Have I changed for the worse? And so not always do people tell you what you need to hear, but they may just throw
right.
out stuff just to appease. And
Right.
so we really want to understand that listening to others is good, but again, if you're hearing it from more than one source, then that's when you need to take consideration of what it
Right.
is.
And then you also need to know as well, Vera, is that, change is good. So if somebody tells you that you've changed, that's great. Then you need to, then you need to assess, well, what type of change is it?
Yes,
But change is good. If you're not changing, you're not growing. And you need,
absolutely.
yeah. So with time comes growth prayerfully. And so,
Yes.
but with that comes change.
Yes, and I always say you're either green and growing or ripe and rotten. So if
That's good.
yes, that's an old Irish proverb from what I understand. But you're either moving forward or you're moving back because we're changing, period. And
Yes.
so we're either changing by progressing or we're changing by digressing. Even the very layers
Mm,
of skin on our bodies change every 7 years. The
that's
hair on
right.
our heads change every 7 years. So we change whether we want to or not. So we need to
Right.
make a conscious effort to
Mm-hmm.
change by moving forward and not
That's right.
change by moving back.
That's right. And even if we are moving back, reassess. Don't stay there. Don't get stuck. Even if you find yourself stuck, you can get unstuck.
Yes,
That's good.
absolutely. And one of the things, other things like you talked about journaling, and
Mhm.
the other thing you said was journaling, and what was the other? I'm
Self-care,
sorry.
taking some time for
Self. Oh
yourself.
yeah,
Just sit by
yes,
yourself, date yourself, sit by yourself. It's okay. It's all right to go out to eat by yourself, go to the park, sit by yourself. But
you wait. You're
sometimes I
breaking up.
find,
You're breaking up.
oh,
Something happened. I didn't hear what
can
you
you hear me
said just
now?
now. Now I can. Now you said
Okay,
even going
perfect.
to restaurants and
Going
sitting
to
by
the restaurant
yourself.
by yourself. I said, and sometimes I find solace in sitting in my car, finishing up a song or listening to a message or just quietness.
Yes. Yes. Peace be still. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. And being comfortable. A lot of people are not comfortable with themselves like that.
yeah.
To be
It takes
able to
practice.
it does. It
Hmm.
does. But being able to sit in your house and maybe not have any music on or any
Mm,
TV on,
hmm.
and I do that a lot. I mean, there's times when it's like no noise and just being with
Me
myself,
too. Yes.
and that's refreshing sometimes. And like you said, getting in your car, driving. I love to drive, and so just going
Mm-hmm.
for long drives and things of that nature. And right now with the seasons changing and the trees are
Yes.
just
Beautiful.
absolutely beautiful here in Georgia. I mean, beautiful.
Yes.
So if you're here
Yes.
in Georgia, before the leaves
Yay.
start falling, go for a ride. Look at the beauty
Yes.
of God. Do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Mm-hmm.
that.
Walk. Go for a walk. Pick up the leaves. I know it sounds like boring stuff, doesn't it? But it really is refreshing.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. It is. And Garen says driving is meditation these days in the fall. Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it
Mm-hmm.
is. And Felicia, she says self love is not selfish. It is definitely essential to our mental wellness.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And you can't constantly be giving and giving and giving to others emotionally, spiritually, even physically, and
Yes.
you deplete yourself
Mm-hmm.
and you
That's
need to replenish yourself.
right. Mm-hmm.
And Garen also says selfish is not negative. It has a bad rap.
That's right. It depends on how selfish you get, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
mostly, if you're talking about taking care of yourself, it is not negative. No,
No, it's
not at
not.
all.
It's not. And sometimes you just have to tell others, look, I need some me time. I need
Mm-hmm.
some space, so that
Yes,
I can regroup and gather my thoughts and think about some things. And
that's right.
sometimes you just need to do that. It's very
That's right.
important.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Awesome. So, Jerry,
Yes.
some more nuggets. What else can you share that's going to help encourage, uplift, inspire, educate?
Well, I would leave you with this, is that I encourage you to really find time for you. I think that's so important. especially in these days where time is of the essence for everything. We're all moving so quickly and so briskly, doing everything for everybody else and doing things for our own businesses and careers that we don't take time to breathe. Life is so short, things are happening so quickly. I encourage you to just take some time and do some things for yourself. And then, for me, I'm a giver. And so because I'm a giver, I'm always giving to someone else, but it also feels good to help somebody else, to give, especially as we're coming up to the holiday season. I'm taking some time this year to not be so much of giving to my children and my grandchildren like I always do. I mean, they got plenty of stuff, plenty of stuff. And so, really trying to rethink Christmas and the holidays, and really being more being more consistent on just, spending family time, enjoying a great dinner and time together, more so than it's just about the gifts. And then by the time we sit down, I'm so exhausted that I can't even think straight. And I didn't even enjoy anything because I'm exhausted. I
Yes,
don't know about
yes.
anybody else, but I'm always doing everything. And so by the time I sit down for dinner, everybody else has enjoyed a great meal. They opened up their gifts and then they're like, Mom, aren't you happy?
No, I'm tired.
I'm tired, right? And everybody
But
wants to play games. So this
yeah,
year, I'm just encouraging you to take time to enjoy your family and your friends and this holiday season and not get caught up in everything else. But now I'm not saying don't buy gifts. Everybody loves gifts, but maybe, just going to the place of where it's more focused on family and
yes.
focused on what it's really meant to be, and that's the Lord.
Yes, absolutely. The reason for the season,
Yeah.
absolutely. And sometimes if we think of others, you talked about being stuck. One of the
Mhm.
ways that you can unstick yourself is
Yeah.
to think about other people and think about what can you do for someone that may be less fortunate? What can you do for someone that may be sick? Maybe
Mhm.
even going, well, with COVID, you don't really want to go into the hospitals and pray for people, but
It's a little harder these days.
yes, we have to be careful with what we're
Mhm.
doing. But if we can just, like that song says, if I can help somebody along the
Somebody.
way,
Yes.
then my living is not in
Mhm.
vain, not in
Yes.
vain.
Yes, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yes, and you have so much that you are offering and so much that you're doing, and I just am so proud of you. I'm proud to know you, and I'm
I'm
proud
proud to
of
know you.
and all the things that you're doing. And I just want to encourage you. And again, Jeri is one of the speakers for the Success Women's Conference that starts on the 18th and it's going
Yes.
to run through the 21st. And
Yes.
so I want to encourage you, if you have not signed up, you can go to either one of our Facebook pages and sign up with the link that's on our page. So I want to encourage you to do that. And Jeri, I want to also, let's see, I want to ask you a little bit more about what what motivated you to do all the things that you're doing. I know that may take a few minutes to answer, but we have a little bit of time. So.
What motivated me? I think just because I have the passion to help others. I think I was born an entrepreneur. When I think about it, I always ventured into something as it relates to being your own boss, right? I went from Mary Kay to doing hair to Avon, to selling paintings in somebody's house. I mean, I was always doing something as it relates to being an entrepreneur. But I am just definitely thankful that God had placed in my spirit to be one that helps others. And so seemingly I'm always into those particular fields. And I think it's called service of help. And I'm also an ordained minister, so I'm always in the mindset of being able to help somebody along the way. And so I'm excited about that, and that's what encouraged me. Like I said, even though when I got sick, I just thought that was the end. But I'm thankful that He gave me more time to be useful in this world, to be useful in the world. So I'm excited about that.
That is so awesome. And Felicia, getting back when we were talking about selfishness, she
Hmm.
says someone that is narcissistic is definitely a level that selfishness becomes toxic.
Yes, it
Absolutely.
does. Yes, it does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
And honestly, not being a narcissistic is a disease. I mean, it's something that I think sometimes they can't help, and they really do need help. But they sometimes they don't even realize that they are that. And so yes, it's very selfish and it's hard. It's hard for them to change, but they can get help.
yeah, um, yeah, it's definitely a disease. It's a mental
Mhm.
health issue,
Yes.
and people, no matter how much you try to make them understand and see that
Hmm.
it's not the way you're seeing it right now, unless they're willing to get the help and go into themselves and recognize that these are some areas that I need to focus on, then it is hard. It's
It's very
hard.
hard.
And Garen says that the cabin loses pressure, whose mask do you secure first? So back to selfish in moderation. Yes. You can't save somebody else if you haven't saved yourself.
Isn't that true? That's what they tell you before every plane ride. Secure it for yourself, and then you
Yes.
help someone else. That's
Yes.
great. I love it.
Yes. Yes. Well, listen, I'm happy that you're here.
Thank you so much.
And I am looking forward to hearing your presentation at
Me
this
too. I'm looking
at
forward to hearing your presentation.
thank you. I'm excited. I'm excited about all the things that have happened this year in
Yeah.
terms of getting that kind of exposure and working with Kern and Tiffany, and they're just beautiful people that
Mm-hmm.
really do want to see women succeed in life.
Yes, that's great. I love
Yes, yes. And Tanya says, great interview.
it. Thank
Thank
you,
you, Tanya.
Tanya. I love you.
Thank you.
She's one of my
And
great friends.
oh, that's awesome. That's
Mhm.
awesome. Thank you for being supportive here. Now, because of the conference, we're running a 2-hour show. And
Mhm.
so I know that my other guests, I heard some pinging, so I think they're probably in the other room. And Norma says, email sent.
Wow, she did it.
Yeah, so look for Norma Mills in your email.
All right. Thank you,
Yes,
Norma.
yes. She's one of my friends. We've been friends for over 40 years. And
Amen.
yes, and she's just a great person.
Thank you,
Great show,
Felicia.
Felicia says. Thank you
Thank
very much.
you.
Thank you. Well, listen, I am going to move over to the other room.
Yes, ma'am.
And I appreciate you being here. And I'm going to have you come back. I talked about having you come with your daughter. And
Yes.
so we're going to plan on that for next year.
Yes, ma'am. We would be honored. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
wonderful,
you.
blessed evening. Thank you all out there. And it's great having this opportunity.
Well, thank you. And I will talk with you soon.
Yay.
And I just want to ask the audience to join me in a minute. I'm going to be over in the other room in like a few minutes. As soon as I play this promo, for some reason I couldn't find it fast enough earlier, but I'm going to go ahead and play my promo. And we'll see you on the other side in a few minutes. Thank
Hey,
you very much.
thank
And,
you.
and Jeri, I'll be talking with you soon.
Yes, ma'am. Have a
All
great
right.
day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
The Vera Retirement Show. The Vera Retirement Show. The Vera Retirement Show. The Vera Retirement Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the field.
All right. So thank you all again. And I am going to, oh, I got a couple more messages. Let's see what's being said here. Norma says a lot of hearts and smiles. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, Tanya says she beat you, Norma. She says she beat you, but anyway, we'll see about getting that book to you as well. So we thank you all, and I will be going into the second half of this special night where we're looking at women that are speaking at the Success Women Conference that's coming up this weekend, the 18th through the 21st. And also, I do want to say, if you are interested in supporting this podcast and you want to see more things going on here, then you can in fact contribute by going to, let me pull it up here. Yes. You can contribute through Cash App or PayPal or Zelle. So if you're interested in supporting this program in any way, by all means do so. And I am celebrating my birthday tomorrow. So I'm excited that God has allowed me to see 68 years tomorrow. Yes, 68 years tomorrow. So God bless. And Norma said, okay, Tanya. All right. So I will see you guys shortly here. Talk to you soon. Let's do this one more time.
The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the field.
All right. See you shortly. I'm going into the other room now.